So now we are moving to the last speaker in our first session. This is Barna Kovacs. And I already mentioned how important it is to understand that circular economy and bioeconomy are connected. So when thinking about the future of Europe, of Central, Eastern, South Europe, of that how the countries in this part of Europe can collaborate, then BIOEAST is offering great inspiration and opportunity to implement what we are talking about. So please, Barna, can you share your presentation with us and introduce the BIOEAST initiative and the role of this initiative in our region? Slovenia is part of that. Please.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I hope you can hear me, and I hope you can see my presentation because I already started to share it. So I am pleased to be here and talk in the name of the BIOEAST initiative, which is a governmental level initiative. And just how I am, yeah. What I would like to tell that I am talking a little bit about the BIOEAST initiative. The minutes available for me, not allowing to go in deep about the initiative, and also a key message for you, which I put actually for my title, the role of public administration. So the BIOEAST initiative is still a niche initiative. It's not the mainstream governmental level initiative. However, I would like very much to emphasize that it's a governmental initiative taking part in 11 member states, 11 EU countries, 11 Eastern European countries, among others Slovenia. It was initiated by the Visegrad Forum, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary, and then Slovenia, Croatia joined, the 3 Baltic countries joined, and Romania and Bulgaria. Recently, the Western Balkan countries, Serbia and others were saying that they would like to join this initiative. The mission is to build up a knowledge and cooperation-based circular bioeconomies in the region. And of course, we already started to work behind the initiative, not just key political issues, but also we tried to build up a cooperation between the countries. Because, of course, usually in our countries, when we start an initiative and there is a political commitment, then we put in place declarations. And the most important and the striking declarations were in light how we can better participate in research and innovation program, the EU Research Innovation Framework Program, because that's what also the politicians and also the experts saw that our countries need more cooperation on that and more participation in Horizon. But as soon as we realized that that Horizon Europe it's a need, it's a must. We also realized that we miss some key strategies like the circular economy strategy, like the bioeconomy strategy, or let's combine them, the circular and bioeconomy, which I would like to emphasize it's not the same issues. And we saw that some key strategic elements are missing at the governmental level, which we need to fill in and fill in the gaps. And of course, behind the declarations, we start to work as ministries, as expert groups, and what we set up until now, I already mentioned. We have a secretariat. We had board meetings. We have national contact points. We put in place together with the Commission a vision for 2030. We had international conferences, and what I'm proud also is that in 2018, the EU Bioeconomy Strategy make a reference to the BIOEAST initiative. And also the European Council conclusion made a reference to the BIOEAST initiative as a very important initiative on those countries, on these countries, our countries, as a key initiative for promoting bioeconomy, the circular and sustainable bioeconomy. And of course, we set up 5 thematic working groups, 7 national events, and the BIOEAST foresight exercise. what I would also just to show you that we need the BIOEAST initiative because sometimes we had the feeling that the member states, our countries, the Eastern European countries, were catching very slowly, or it was very difficult to catch up with the EU initiatives, and the BIOEAST initiative could help on this respect. Of course, when we are reading and already it was shown by the priorities of the European Commission, and if I'm looking behind the different priorities and policies initiated, then we can see that the bioeconomy, the circular and sustainable bioeconomy, sustainable use, circular and sustainable use of bioresources, it's almost everywhere in all those initiatives in the transport, climate, clean, renewable, affordable energy, the CAP, the Common Agriculture Policy, farm-to-fork strategy, zero pollution, transformation of rural areas. Everywhere we are talking about the resources, the biomass resources, which we have it in Eastern Europe, and it has to be used in a better way. Of course, the major questions for the member states and ministries especially is the biomass and the bioresource availability. On the other hand, another challenging question is research and innovation capacities of those countries. Then financing investments and developing a market, the new value-added sustainable models, and of course the societal acceptance. And let me just show just few figures, because I would like very much to show you in deep some differences between the EU countries. The characteristic for bioeconomies, if we are comparing the 11 BIOEAST country with the EU 27, then we can see that in employment, in the bioeconomy employment, it's almost 42%. Almost 43%. So we have a big employment in bioeconomy. But if we are looking into the value added of the bioeconomy, we are very low. So we need still value added processes, and we need still to investment to move out from the raw material selling to the processing of the material, to the processing of the material in a sustainable, circular way. Another characteristic which I wanted to show you, of course, we cannot talk about the circular, sustainable development transition without the research and innovation. And of course, for the policy making, we need excellent based science. But if I am looking into the Horizon 2020 fund distribution, you can see clearly that most of the funds, it's basically 5.13%. It's going to the EU 13 countries, and the big part is going to the EU 15. So the share of the EU 13 countries, it's so small, and more targeted is the second circle, where we can see that where we spend the circular and the bioeconomy funds, 7.65% is spent in these countries. So our participation in excellence-based science is low. We have to have that participation. What I have to also show you, and it's very important in my opinion, because usually we are talking about EU and EU research impact, which we are generalizing at the EU and European level. We have to see the differences as soon as we started to talk about sustainable and circular Europe. We have different regions. So the research should and the research impact should also foresee the different aspects of the Europe. Otherwise, we can miss and we cannot generalize the outcomes and the impact. Another aspect which is important for should be considered are the investment aspects. If we look on the table which was produced by the GRC, the Joint Research Center, we can see that in the eastern part of Europe, they are missing the biorefineries. those biorefineries which can make our products and our resources more circular, and even using for more product types. Because if you look at the dark gray points, they are mostly in the western part of Europe, and they are almost totally missing in the eastern part, in the BIOEAST part, BIOEAST countries from the map. Another aspect which I'm just showing very shortly for you, it's important. It's very important because we have to put in place, as it was also mentioned by the previous speaker, policies and also to influence the politics. And it's very important that if the society is not prepared for this, then you cannot do circular change. And if you are looking behind some data, and I put it here, the median and the mean annual earnings. Of course, it's 2014 because that's the last year where I find the common data. Usually we are using the mean annual earnings for the countries, which means that we are well above average. I would see above, I put here in green, that 30 euro per day earnings, which is necessary at least to start to think out of the remit of the family needs, about the environment. When you start to think also, and the earnings, so to say, the 10,000 euro per year earnings allow a family to start to think about the environmental changes. And believe me that in the most of the Eastern European countries, as the figures show, the median yields, median earnings are well below this earning. So that would mean that more than half of the population of those countries are living from one day to the other. So to say, it's not allowed to talk for them more than 1 or 2 days, or the coming days issues, and the very necessary for the families. So in this context, you have to understand the logic of the politics and the logic of policies. So it's very important that if the Slovenian presidency can play in the future to show those figures, and we have to have a targeted support for countries. Then, of course, I'm ending, and I'm close to my presentation, because based on my experience with the BIOEAST initiative as a Secretary General, one of the most important and key aspects, I would see the role of the public administration in the sustainable transition, because the public administration is in the crossroads. So it's the entity which helping the politics to frame some political messages, also setting up policy priorities. But the public administration is also on the crossroad with the societal engagement, as I show you in the previous slide. It's between the public and private sector developments. They are who should channel the European and global priorities, and of course they are the one who are public and private funds, and they are administering those funds and partnerships. So without a viable public administration, we cannot talk about system change in these countries. And it's very important that in the coming years we concentrate and we help the public administration in Central and Eastern European countries to be able to develop strategic priorities on circular economy and bioeconomy. Of course, in the BIOEAST initiative, we put some steps at national level. Each country will develop a national circular and sustainable bioeconomy strategy. We have a policy support facility put in place together with the European Commission, and we develop a national BIOEAST hubs in each country. At macro-regional level, I would show you we are putting in place a strategic research and innovation agenda. We are working together with key experts, important experts on foresight exercise, which will define the potential future scenarios and priorities specifically for this region. And we put in place thematic working groups, cross-national working groups, and based on the different value chain, forestry on sustainable yields and agroecological intensification coordinated by Hungary, the forestry coordinated by Slovakian Ministry and the Slovakian Institute, the bioenergy and new value-added products coordinated by Croatian Ministry and the Croatian Institute, the food system, the same in Poland, freshwater-based bioeconomy, it's on the Czech Republic, and we are in a way to set up a thematic working group on education. That was from my side very short, the presentation. I tried to highlight a few key issues which I thought that it's important for the future, and I think Slovenia can play a key role on showing the way for the Central and Eastern European countries how to approach this. Why is important the circular change? Why is important to put emphasis on a key resource like the biomass, which we have it in Eastern Europe, but still not used in all aspects, and it could be changed in the coming years. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Barna, for this overview, because sometimes even we here in Central and Eastern Europe do not know what is actually going on and which initiatives are alive and enabling us to participate and contribute. So at this very same time, on Bled, at Bled Strategic Forum, the other part of this event, the key leaders and decision makers of this region are talking about our future, about the priorities. So I sincerely hope that projects like BIOEAST, initiatives like BIOEAST, will be integrated into those plans and activities and also on the agenda for the presidency in 2021. I would like really to ask you one more question before we wrap up this first session. You highlighted this importance of public sector, of public administration, being able to communicate with the others, so with the civil society, and it's of crucial importance, of course, how these stakeholders jointly co-create solutions, particularly in this part of the world, as you mentioned, where it is not so obvious that resources, even financial resources, are available for this important circular and bioeconomy transition. Maybe a little bit about this collaboration and how you see the next steps.
Yes, it's unmuted. I put this message specifically for this conference because the public administration should have a kind of channeling role on how to cooperate, how to co-create. And in our countries, in Eastern European countries, still not the issue that the public administration, especially in the ministries, they are not yet prepared well to co-create policies to help and create strategic strategies and action plans behind. And in my opinion, it's very important that the public administration it's prepared. We put in place some mutual learning exercise for them, helping the connection with those countries where it's much more mature, this kind of communication and development. And the role of the public administration on all this to develop strategies and action plans and implement it, I see as a key success factor. And that's why the BIOEAST initiative it's focusing first on issues to not just to have political declarations, but also to try to set up cooperation between the officers, between the ministries, between external experts, especially in Eastern Europe. And by this, we would like to have that the BIOEAST initiative it's able to name the needs of the countries, because previously in the past years, usually the Eastern European countries experts, we were taking part in the different international discussions, but we were waiting more those inputs which were coming, and also the needs were set up by the bigger strategic discussions, not necessarily based on our specific needs. So what we are doing here, and I hope that we can phrase it via the strategic research agenda, that we put in place those needs which are very important for the region, very important for the society who is living here, and via this clearly phrased needs, we can have a much more better approach and sit beside the table and talk about the strategic and strategies and the strategic approach together with other European countries.
Thank you very much, Barna. Again, Circular Change, as the partner of the initiative, BIOEAST will do the best to connect the stakeholders.